Good day, this is Graham Bibby here. Welcome to our first video market update. Today is the 6th of July 2011, and today what I'm going to do is I'm going to run through with you live some markets, what I've been looking at this morning and where we see the opportunity. Before I get into that, just let me quickly explain again what our mission statement is. Our job is to enhance returns over the long term by minimizing downside risk and taking opportunities as they arise in the markets through market trends. This year has been quite difficult as the markets have basically started to go up, then headed down, then headed up again, and we were in this big sort of trading range. And I hope to go through that with you in a few seconds. So stand by and we'll be looking at some live charts. This very first chart, the volatility in the market. It's not been a good market for us because we're really looking for uptrends and we follow those trends. We go into the markets with the best momentum to maximize the returns, or in falling markets we can exit and then we stay on the sidelines when the markets go much lower, like in the global financial crisis. But here we had Apple breaking out to the upside, falling back down, trying to break out again but not as high as before, falling to new lows which look bearish, then we're rising higher than the previous lows, possibly turning bullish, breaking back down, up. So it's been quite a difficult market. I have been writing over the last few weeks and months that there's a lot of bearishness out there. The Greece situation, the QE2, debt crisis in the US, the problems in the Arab countries. Yet still, the markets aren't cratering. That looks like a steady decline there. It's about 15 to 16% in one of the strongest stocks. And then the catalyst for the turnaround was, as I was saying in my reports, even less bad news. So Greece and the bailout there was the first signs, and the market wants to go up. There's a lot of money in cash. And now what we've done, we've started this uptrend and we've broken out to the upside. So that's a very strong indicator that the leaders are starting to turn upwards. Then I want to get into the index. This is the Nasdaq index. Again, similar scenario, breaking higher, breaking to new lows below support, then trying to go higher again, then breaking down again, double bottom here, forming this bottom and that bottom. This is a previous resistance point, so that gave support. And now we've broken that downtrend, and that is a slightly higher low, and now we've broken out to the upside. So that's quite bullish. What we'd like to see is a bit of a pullback, then new strength, and then we've got a clear buy signal. If we look at the Dow Jones 30, again, let's go back to the beginning of the year, March into April rise, then quite a strong plummet. Apple was moving sideways through that time period, so it shows the strength in that stock. And here, basically, we didn't go any higher until December. So from May, that's 8 months of sideways movement. Then we moved higher into about April. But don't forget, February, Apple started to turn down. So it is a leader to the downside, a leader to the upside. And now this downtrend resistance level has been broken to the upside, and we need to see a pullback. So we've gone from quite a negative looking position, come back to potential support levels, and now we've seen a breakout. So that's good news. Let's move on to something a bit more in emerging markets, just to point out again, the problems we've been having with the sideways moving markets. This is Malaysia. Now Malaysia, similar picture, but not so prolonged sideways movement. Then some strength, then 3 or 4, 6 months sideways moving, and then a little bit lift higher. Then we've been in this big trading range all year. Difficult to make money there, not good for our system because it's breaking down and breaking up and breaking down. But now we've got a breakout to the upside, so that looks quite favourable. And if we went to look at a weekly chart, and let's just zoom in a bit, then you can see that we've got a very strong breakout on the weekly chart. I'll go back to daily. Got a lot to get through in this time period, so I don't want to delay things too much. Just playing around with a few charts here. Let's go back now and let's look at agricultural sector. The reason I've got this on is because China, with its expanding economy,
and it's needed for food. It's very bullish for agricultural chemical stocks. But even these stocks from their height here, this is somewhere in the region of 78, came all the way down to around 64. But now we've seen this clear breakout of that trend channel from possibly support levels here. So that's quite positive. We move on to IBM. IBM, is really fascinating because over its lifetime, IBM's been almost bankrupt several times, but now this stock is moving to new highs as Microsoft, which took the crown away from IBM, has been struggling and at one stage was heading to new lows. Great, this was a resistance. We broke down from resistance, up through it, came back, and the resistance became support, and now we've broken up through that trend angle. This is a bit of one-way action, but we'd need to see a pullback, then some strength, and then I believe that's moving higher. Goldman Sachs, I want to point out the banking sector in the US. I mean, this stock, Goldman's, one of the smartest boys out there, 175 went all the way down to 40. That's 45-point decline. That's somewhere in, getting up in the region of 25-26%. We've come down to this bottom region here, which should be support, roughly here. We're trying to bounce up. I pointed it out because I've got some other things to show you in the banking sector. Here's Bank of America. Again, similar thing, went from 15 to just above 10, nearly a 30% or roughly a 30% decline. And if you go all the way back here to April of last year, it was 20. That's a 50% decline. But here we've got a breakout. Why are we seeing the breakout? The breakout is because there was all this rumor that the banks would have to double or treble or quadruple their capital adequacy levels, and they won't be allowed to charge so many things that they love to charge us on. But all that's getting watered down, so I expect in the future to see a rally in the banking sector. Okay, let's go a bit more diverse, and let's look at the metals and minerals side of it, the mining sector. Again, this is the beginning of the year. Same volatility, breaking up, breaking down, breaking up, and then this trend down, going to new lows. But then we reversed this. This is a bit of an uptrend. Then we've got support here, buying in at a level higher than here. That was the first bullish signal. Couldn't really take action then because we've had these resistance points here, and that's the downtrend resistance. But we've actually broken up through that. So to me, that's another tick in the plus column. This chart here is steel, the steel ETF. Beginning of the year, the rise that we've seen before, whoa, then a real plummet until June. And basically we didn't recover those losses until the end of the year. 8 months of sideways movement. Then you could argue there's been another 4 months and then downward. So, okay, if we take this bottom to here, we maybe had a 6-month uptrend in steel. So 50-50 sideways to down. But now we see here a breakout to the upside. What we really need to see is a pullback, followed by strength. Then we have a clear buy signal. But it's a breakout, that's good. Here is the ProShare ETF, which shows us the market bottoming out, maybe 1, maybe 2, maybe 3 bottoms here. We've got a bit of resistance up here, but again, quite favourable, that move. Then I've got Caterpillar. Caterpillar's been a gem of the stock. As you can see over here, it's in the farming and construction machinery. So there's been a lot of demand for food, wheat, corn, all sorts of dairy products, and construction equipment to do with building in China, and also possibly in the mining sector. Again, we had this nice uptrend. We were there going into the bearish trend. We've broken up. We've come back. We've got support, and then we're moving higher. This chart looks very good. It looks positive. So what I'm trying to do here is build up a jigsaw puzzle of whether the markets are looking bearish or positive or neutral. A few months ago they were looking neutral. We were looking for signs of a breakout. Now we've got that. Here's the Korean ETF. Here's the peak. From the peak, which was around 70, we came down about 64. Now we've broken out to the upside. Again, similar pattern to the other markets. Looks quite bullish. Then copper. Apparently the supply of copper can't keep up with demand, and China's demand is going to increase. And this is where we come into fundamentals and charts. The chart tells you reality. Let's go back to the beginning of the year. a month of a rise, then we've got basically 5 months of decline, then we have 4 months of a rise, and all this year copper sector has been falling, so it's been in decline for 6 months. It's now breaking out to the upside. Many analysts predict copper will be much higher by the end of the year, and if that happens, there's this little stock called Freeport-McMoRan which should do very well because that's corrected along with the copper price. Here's Indonesia, one of our favoured areas. It had a topping out process at the end of last year, started to break down, found renewed buying in February, but again, last few months found life difficult, but it's breaking out to the upside. I think it will be one of the leaders, so we're looking at that quite strongly. Here's the Shanghai stock market. You know I'm quite keen on this area, and I believe at some stage we will see a new bull market formed, and it will be of the ilk of 2005 when the market went up several hundreds of percent over a short time frame. Again, with all the negativeness in world markets, it broke down over the last 2 months, but now we've broken out, we've got a higher bottom here, and we've moved higher. This is something that we could look to buy, but I need to run some more momentum programs before we do that. Then last but not least, I just want to show you here, this is a Latin American fund, and really, the difficulty with making money in the last 6 months is the volatility since, in this instance, last October. Breaking into new highs, then breaking into new lows, then breaking into higher highs, then higher lows, then higher highs, but then breaking down again, trying to start a new bull trend, breaking down, start a new bull trend, and then breaking down, and now we're on the rise again. We really need to get above this level to be really sure that we've passed this congestion phase. But on the whole, what I really want to say to everyone is this last week has been very positive. We see there's a lot of cash on the sidelines, getting no return on deposits. Bonds haven't been doing that well, so we need to see a little bit of a pullback now. Possibly it will be married in with the US deciding what it's going to do with its debts that it needs to pay, and if it resolves that situation, we could then get some strength again in the markets, and then we'll have buy signals, and I believe we're still on for a rally towards the end of the year. So thank you for listening to today's video market update, and I look forward to speaking to you soon. It's from Graham Bibby. Thank you very much.
So I hope you enjoyed that review of markets. I think there was about 17 stocks and markets in all. Actually every day there's tens if not hundreds of different interesting looking stocks and markets to look at. And what I'm trying to do is just bring that down into a niche which gives you an overview of the markets. My view for the last few months has been a lot of bad news out there. The markets were gently sliding down, trying to rally, sliding down, but they've had Greece problems, they've had the problems in the Arab countries, the fighting, they've had the problem of the QE2, is it going to happen, not happen, the debt problem in America. But it seems to me that the markets didn't really want to fall, and just some better news about Greece, and we've seen the markets break to the upside. It looks to me at this moment in time it's a breakout. I've given you my views, so until next time, I just believe it's a good time to position your investments now. If you've got investments already, make sure they're under our management so we can focus on the right areas that are going to outperform. And if you've got cash, I think you should get it ready, in position, so we can invest very soon. Thank you very much. My name is Graham Bibby.